I think we can go.
Okay, here we go. I'll let you do the welcome, Marilyn,
Yeah, I will.
while I figure everything else out. Marilyn, I think I muted you by accident when you were saying
Well,
hello to everybody.
I know, but it's unmuted.
Now I
My,
unmuted you too.
okay, apologies if I'm going to do this again. Hello, everyone. Um, we're playing around with some new approaches today. And so what we want to do is just do a check-in with everyone. We realize that there might be some people out there who are new and haven't been with us before. And so welcome to you. And just want to check in and see, do any of you have any questions about what's been going on with these sessions? Um, any reflections on how you have been using some of the techniques? And as one of the things that are going to happen today is we're going to go into breakout rooms so that we'll all have an opportunity to share directly with one another in a much smaller setting. But for now, you can turn on your mic and let us hear what your thoughts are. Someone's telephone's ringing. Sandra, you've come up on the screen, and I think that means that you might have something to share with us.
Oops.
Sandra, was that you saying oops?
Not yet. I'm eating my lunch.
Oh, you're eating your lunch. Okay.
Maybe later.
Okay. So no questions from people? No reflections at all?
I can share.
Sure, thank you. Maya, hi, how are
Hi.
you?
I am wonderful. I have a little bit of sunshine here and looking forward to more sunshine today. And the word resources have been with me since the first session I joined, which is 2 weeks ago now. And it's helped me navigate some tougher moments. I mean, we're all navigating tougher moments. And in my case, it's because my husband is a physician, and it seems that, you know, every time he goes to work and comes back, there's a little bit of tension and question, you know, is the virus in the house, and having sort of this anxiety and looking for resources. I had never called the skills or the tools of connection or compassion that way, but having this easy sort of word at my fingertips of resources has allowed me to turn around and say, okay, this is a tough moment, and what is my resource? And I've been receiving pictures from friends because now everybody has more times, and so they're going through pictures and finding a picture of my kids or myself and sending them that. And I've been looking for flowers outside on my walks, and I've been last night looking for the beautiful moon, and all of these, you know, engaging it as a resource and letting it, you know, be a heartfelt moment that sort of counteracts the difficulties has been wonderful, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you,
Maya and
Maya.
I,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead,
no,
Marilyn.
I was just to say, we shared the same moon last night because Maya's not that far geographically from me. And, you know, real treat in the Northwest to have such a clear night.
Nice.
Go
And
ahead,
yeah,
Maya.
I was just going to add that it seemed like, Maya, when you were touching your heart and making it heartfelt moments, is that you were adding in that really important part of tracking, right? Of using that resource and then checking in with our body and your body and figuring out, and just even that gesture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love to hear from a couple more people.
Yes, Marilyn said we're going to also have chance to share some of our resources and stuff in breakouts, and in particular, any questions or anything. And I think Cheryl, I cut you off. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to share. I've noticed. I know a lot of people are getting more creative. I feel like associating with this group. I've taken part in the coffee and conversation as well. So it's just been really, really, really helpful in helping me just be more compassionate, think of other people. And it's almost like it's getting to more of a cellular level in my body, because all of a sudden I thought, I don't read poetry. I need to read poetry, take this time to just get to a different level of, connecting with humanity, I guess, and the arts. And I don't know, and I've even been listening to different types of music. And I hope it's helping me be more compassionate. I live alone. I'm connecting with people, but I guess, until you're in situations with other people, do you realize if you're being more aware of other people's needs and their hurts and their, ways to reach out and connect to them. So that's a mystery to me until I'm back with people. But I just attribute this growth, I guess, to my connection with this program and with all of you and your hearts, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you for sharing. One thing that I started to do is to send a gift to people every day. And that gift could be a person that I love who's a singer, or a poem that I love. And so I send it to, maybe 20, 30 people each day, in hopes that they would send it on. And, to really encourage people to, to take some joy in discovery, like you were talking about. But thanks for that. And I see that Mike has his hand up.
Hi, everybody. It's really nice to see new faces. It's really nice to see people I've done the CIT together with. And my example is this morning. Just dealing with some, the anxiety we as humans feel, and even more so now. And I it was a combination of everything, honestly. I was tracking just the changes in my body and feelings, where I was able to let go of the anxiety, and using some resources. I think I probably flashed through about a dozen resources. Some because I thought about a bad thing about it and had to do some switching, but just kind of sitting in the moment and just, what I've always discovered with myself and with other people is that feelings generate memories of other feelings, of other events that give you the same kind of feelings. So, and also practicing a lot of gratitude. Gratitude really helps me. I live alone. Cheryl talked about living alone, but so I don't particularly enjoy it, but I am glad that I'm not getting on anybody's nerves. Or that, you gotta be grateful and find something. So thanks.
Thank you, Michael. And your new surroundings are really very complimentary to you.
Thank you.
Jay.
Yeah, thank you for having these programs. I mean, it's really wonderful to see people all over doing this. Two things that I've been doing: I'm a craftsman, and sometimes I go and I've been doing some crochet work because it's a focus of making, but also I started making face masks, and also sending instructions on making face masks to many friends. It's a way of connecting to making and to being conscious of other people And taking care of other people also is a way of for me, of centering, of feeling connected to them and feeling that. And on the other side, we're out in the California desert, and the cacti are just getting into bloom around now, and cactus flowers are just amazing. And it's amazing just to go out and instead of thinking about what's going on with the little viruses, we can think about what's going on in the beautiful world. And it's a nice focus. And so I appreciate your reminders about looking and smelling and seeing and feeling all of that. So thank you.
Well, no, and thank you for sending out instructions on how to make masks. It's quite a gift that you're doing. And we have one more person before I'm going to turn it over. Look at this. So many people have said that they want to talk, but we're not going to be able to do it all. But Diane, why don't you send us out before our next activity?
First of all, thank you so much for having this meeting spot for me. I was curious what your name is because you're coming up with Charter for Compassion, and I don't get your
I'm
name.
sorry. My name is Marilyn Turkovich.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Diane. And also, I've just been, I'm a art, drama, and ceramic teacher, and so I've been enjoying using some resources of finding all the art galleries to go to, virtual ones, and so, and obviously in trying to get ready to teach my lessons as well, and so that's been a really a good joy for me living here alone. And I also have been making masks and also really enjoying doing that. I'm getting very creative, and I thought I was going to save a lot of money, but I went online and did some online shopping for fabric. So there goes all my savings that I thought I was going to save. So anyway, thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, Michael.
Okay, so thank you. We're going to go ahead and continue the check-in basically, but we're going to do it in smaller groups. We'll see how this works. There'll be a facilitator in each one of your groups, and they'll lead a check-in and a conversation about resources and other things that are kind of helping us get through. And if you joined into the call or had to leave and come back since I've organized the breakouts, you won't immediately get sent into a breakout, but don't worry, I will assign you. You'll get there. We're going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes, about 15 minutes in these breakouts. Just to give you a heads up, when we come back, what we'll do is we'll get into the practice, and we'll finish up the session with practice and just next steps. So it's wonderful to see everybody, and here we go. Let's give this a shot. For everyone still here, I'm working through the list and getting there. Anya, you still here? Nope. Michael, I think I owe you an email back. It's definitely on my list, I promise. I can't hear you, but I'm sure whatever you're saying, it's lovely.
I wait in patience. I understand how busy you are. I'm grateful for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Michael. No, I'm really interested in your work too, so I will definitely follow up.
Thanks.
Okay, I believe we are all back. And we have a couple minutes maybe just for people that want to share what that experience was like. Any kind of insights that arose for you while being in that group that you would like to share? We can take maybe 3 comments or so.
I'll just say that I think it worked really well to have a smaller group. But I think the fact that we had some instruction in the first couple sessions before we did this was really helpful, because we were able to, we talked about, you know, the resilient, about resources that we had, and people knew what that meant, so they could jump right in and describe
Great.
them. That was good.
Thank you, Marge. Marcelina?
I was just going to say, I actually had to use the resource technique because I have a bit of social anxiety. And when we went into the group, it came back, even though it's in this virtual, you know, context. And so I actually had to, you know, bring myself into, I did some tracking and I did some resource work too, just to be able to be present while people were talking. So it was useful. Thank you.
And that worked well for you?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I will share, as you can imagine, I do a lot of teaching and I use this all the time. Even as much as I've done teaching in certain groups, for some question comes up and it's like, uh-oh. And it's like, wait, I've got a technique I can use that's going to get me in my resilient zone. And that's when I use it. So thanks for sharing that. Maybe one or two more comments.
This is
Yes,
Barbara.
Marilyn. Oh yeah,
sorry.
Barbara, then Marilyn.
I just quickly want to share that our small group facilitator was awesome. So shout out to him. And I very much enjoy meeting others and hearing from others and being in the presence of others. I'm an extrovert, so this is a tough time. And so the fact that you offer this later today, I attend a CIT training. And so I kind of see a similar layout, and you know, to offer this and to have this ability to talk about things that are currently so important and matter is, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. And Marilyn?
A woman in our group is a parent, and she talked about how effective it is for her own grounding to teach her children, and how calming that is. And I realized I hadn't thought of it, but I host several local Zoom calls, and we start with meditation after the initial thing. And I hadn't realized that basically I was using the same technique that she was.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, one of the things that one of the reasons that we brought in these resiliency skills, these particularly the body skills of grounding, tracking, resourcing, and help now, is because as we were doing work in with a lot of different groups, particularly in prison settings, people were having trouble. When you just say, okay, everyone sit, close your eyes, and start focusing on your breath, that can actually be triggering for certain people, and it can be very difficult. And so there's actually preliminary steps we want to take, and we found these resources literally, and been teaching them, and found that it's been really helpful in terms of even people's own other practices, you know, helping ground those other practices. Okay, so speaking of those other practices, we're going to jump into a practice ourselves, and then we will we'll have some time for some more conversation after it. But before we do the practice, what I want to do is just share my screen and just remind folks of what we're talking about this week, and I'll do this very briefly. For people who are just joining this week, if you're curious as to more information about the Help Now, resourcing, grounding, etc. practices, please view the website at compassionateintegrity.org, where you can see under the resiliency skills the past webinars, and you can catch up. So hopefully that'll be available to you and you'll make use of that. So what I wanted to do is just walk us through something we talked about last week, which was talk about the goal of this focused attention practice. And as we talked about, it comes out of the second skill, ethical mindfulness in CIT. And here we're borrowing from an ancient metaphor that really identifies the mind as, in a metaphorical sense, to a wild elephant. And because we know how poorly treated many elephants are these days in the world, we don't want to use that metaphor anymore. So we're translating that metaphor into that of training a puppy. And as we look at this metaphor, we extend the metaphor by saying that here the mind is like a puppy who can, I know for even my not puppy, 6-year-old golden retriever, she doesn't always listen to what I have to say. Actually, she rarely listens to what I have to say, and she's off doing her own thing and listening, going wherever she wants, and oftentimes creating havoc and destruction, which is lovely at times. So in order to train that wild mind, what we do is we give it an object of focus. In this case, we're going to be focusing on the breath. You have all done practices where you're focusing on the body. When we talk about our tracking, that's a body practice. We can have lots of different objects of focus. Here, it's going to be this ball for the case of the dog, but for us today, it'll be the breath. And what connects us and holds us to that object of focus is a quality of mind called mindfulness. It's our ability to not only hone in our attention on one object, but then we're also similarly trying to push out any awareness of other objects. So it's a both coming in both directions. It's a quality that requires us to do both at the same time. And that's mindfulness. And here it's like the leash. But of course, we're going to wander, and it happens all the time. And that other quality of mind that we have in a different part of our executive functioning is our ability for metacognition, our ability to say, hey, puppy, hey, mind, you were supposed to be focusing on the breath. Come on back. Let's focus on the breath, or focus on the ball if you're the dog. And the practice we're going to do is a focused attention practice, which it literally cultivates those two qualities of mind, our ability to stay focused on the present, as well as to recognize what's going on inside of our own mind and body, which next week we're going to introduce additional practices which really accelerate that practice of awareness. But if we think about it, as we've talked about in previous weeks, a lot of what can get us into a swirl about what's going on right now is not staying focused on the present, letting our minds kind of get wound up about things, or doing things and watching things and engaging in things that may not be the most beneficial for us. And so helping remind ourselves that we want to stay grounded in the present, we want to stay grounded in reality as much as possible, and using that focused attention will help cultivate that, as well as having all the ancillary benefits of just reducing stress, reducing heart rate, really engaging our sympathetic nervous system. All of those are benefits that'll come from this practice. We want to cultivate a mind that is both stable and clear, meaning we want to be able to hold over time longer and longer periods of attention. And we want to hold that with a kind of vividness so that it's bright in our mind, and we're not getting tired or lethargic or falling asleep while we're doing this. Although if you fall asleep, please give yourself permission to take a nap. We all need that as well. And don't be hard on ourselves. Just like this guy didn't walk into the gym and pick this up the first time he walked into the gym, he started with very small weights. So every time my mind wanders and I come back, that's another rep in the gym. That's lifting another weight. It's strengthening my muscle of metacognitive awareness and my muscle of mindfulness. It's a good thing. So oftentimes we have the tendency to say, oh, I can't keep my mind focused today. Why do I always beating ourselves up, which is not what we're going for. We're trying to give ourselves permission. We can't expect to lift 500 pounds the first time we do this practice. Or similarly, you wouldn't expect to play an incredible string quartet concerto or something on a violin the first time you pick it up. It requires practice. So with that, we're going to move into this a practice together. And if I can, I want to just invite everybody to take a position that is comfortable to you. As I mentioned last week, we have an introduction to contemplative practice recording or podcast on our website that you can listen to if you want more details about the practice. But I want you to assume a posture that is comfortable to you, and one that you can sustain for maybe 10 to 15 minutes here. And one thing, if you can, is if you don't want to necessarily cross one leg over the other, feet flat on the floor would be good if possible, just because that reduces the amount of circulation you cut off, and it gives you a more stable base. Because what we're going for is a posture that indicates that stability and clarity. But again, at the end of the day, we want you to be comfortable. You may close your eyes, or you don't have to. It's totally up to you. And you may want to experiment with just closing them a little bit so you get light in, but you're not focused on anything in particular, and that can help also maintain some stability and clarity. So with that, once you found your posture, and again, if you need to shift, please shift during the practice, let's bring to mind one of our resources. And try to bring that resource to mind as vividly as possible. Thinking of all of the different details that would go into painting a picture of that resource. Creating auditory sensations of that resource, or the smells and touches of that resource. The more details you can add to that image in your mind, the better. And as you bring that resource to mind, just check what's going on the inside right now and see if you can find any pleasant or neutral sensations that are arising in your body. If you need to, you can always come back to this resource as a way of stabilizing yourself and grounding yourself. But if you're ready, we're going to now shift our attention to the breath. And we'll take 3 deep inhalations and exhalations as we fill our body with oxygen and slowly release. And a second deep inhalation. And then slowly release, allowing the body to relax and soften. And then a final inhalation, drawing all of your attention into this moment. And then as you release, feeling yourself grounded in your body, in this place, at this time. And now just allow your breathing to return to its natural, normal pace. Don't try to control it, just allow it to be breathing, your body to breathe in and out. And rest your attention on the sensations of breathing, whether it's your body as a whole, or with the expanding and contracting of your belly, the rising and falling of your chest, or the air as it moves in and out of your nostrils. If your mind wanders, just gently return back to the sensations of breathing and begin again without judgment. If you find your mind is getting dull or lethargic or sleepy, you might want to just check your posture, return to a relaxed but upright posture. And you can also open your eyes a little bit to allow some light to come in. And then just simply return to the sensations of the breath. If you find it helpful, you can count the breaths, starting with 1 on the first exhale, 2 on the second exhale, continuing to 10, and then returning back to 1. As we conclude the practice, let's bring our attention back to the body and see if you can notice a place where your body is making contact with another physical object, whether it's the floor or your chair or yourself, and bring your awareness to that place. It's feeling grounded, that's feeling connected. And notice any pleasant or neutral sensations that are arising as you bring that awareness there. As we conclude the practice, you may wish to add a dedicatory wish, such as, I dedicate this practice to all the healthcare workers who are out on the front lines helping us remain healthy and strong and safe. You can dedicate the practice to anyone or any group of people you wish. And you may also wish to add a resolve statement of your choice, such as, I resolve to try to maintain this kind of present moment awareness that I've cultivated today at this time. I resolve to try to maintain this throughout the rest of the day. And that will conclude the practice. When you're ready, you can open your eyes or rejoin us. So we have time for a couple of people to share if they'd like, questions or how that was for you, or any insights that might have arose, challenges that you felt like you were facing during the practice. And then we'll end with just a few announcements.
Michael, I can share.
Please, Rosaria.
It was really interesting because I do have my own breath practices, but these resource today was very different. I got in touch with the tender, nurturing part of my breath. And as if it was almost a presence within me. And it felt good, like I could feel it. And not that I normally do, it was just a different sensation in my body than my regular practice. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm grateful for you saying that, not the least of which is because it just hit me when you said that, how this disease challenges our breath, and the gratitude each breath is. And so the gratitude, I have now for each breath, so, and the power that it has. So thank you, Rosaria. Anybody else? Cheryl?
Yeah, I don't, sometimes I think it's like people that play golf. Sometimes they play awesome and amazing and they love it. Other times they hate it. If they play even every day, they still can have really bad, This was just a really good session for me, which is interesting because usually I'm by myself.
Yeah.
By myself. But After, I don't know, the first like 6 minutes or 7, whatever, I can tell, but it was before, right at the end. I just got this sense that I'm not alone in this. I just like this, you know, just feeling this awareness, this kind of happiness, this connection with everybody, and just, yeah, just I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And it just had many faceted, you know, I had many faceted response to it, I think. And it was very, very pleasant. And
Thank you, Cheryl.
yeah, thank you.
Lovely of you to share that. Thank you. We are not alone.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. We have time, I think, for one more person to share if you'd like.
I can share.
Yeah, Autumn.
So I'm brand new to this. This is my first session coming in, and I'm not really
Welcome.
familiar with a lot of the language, but I get it because I do a different, very similar practice. And I have my daughter here with me. She's right down here. And throughout our practice just now, she was bargaining with my mother-in-law trying to get some chocolate. And you know, I don't know, like I practice so often that these kinds of distractions are just really welcome. They're just they just become a part of it. And it's
100%.
like she is my resource. And so I just love her, and it makes me love her more. And I think about, you know, all of the facets of her personality, and it just becomes a part of the practice, all of these distractions. So yeah, it was really, it was fun.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
want to, first of all, welcome. Second of all, I want to remind you, if you don't know already, that on Tuesdays at this time zone, we, Jennifer Valtos, who's on here somewhere, hosts a parent and caregiver group for parent caregivers and children to do these practices together for, I think it's 30 minutes every Tuesday at noon. And then Anya and Shane, who are on here somewhere, host a Thursday session at 9 a.m., I guess Greenwich Mean Time, based in Europe, for folks in that time zone. So, and you can also find all of those on our website, the recordings. So thank you for that. I want to just end. We decided, instead of like at the very end, throwing up like quickly saying, oh wait, we forgot about this and we forgot about that we would actually try to be a little bit more organized about it. And so we just wanted you, and maybe one of the other facilitators can pop some links into the chat box. But we wanted to tell you about a couple other opportunities that are being offered at this time for this situation. One is that we have a small group of what we call CIT coaches, and they do individual and small group sessions of about 6 people. And actually, Andrea is one of our coaches, and she's on this call. And they've decided to do 2 things differently. One is they're starting new cohorts that'll meet every week instead of every other week, and they're going to do it purely on a donation basis. So we're not charging for it, but you know, during it, after it, if you want to contribute to their well-being, that's all wonderful. And we're also, Teresa Jones, who runs that coaching program, is offering to do individual sessions also on just a donation basis. So if people are in need, if they want to have a place to connect with others, you can find that on our coaching section of our website. I just mentioned the caregivers and children's resiliency webinars that we're hosting with the charter, of course. And then check out the charter's website for other things that are happening right now. Some of you have already mentioned those: the coffee and conversation, the mindfulness with Rocky. So those are other great things. And Jen, just briefly, some upcoming opportunities. We do have 2 full CIT courses that are going to start. I will say that Rebecca Koch, who you've seen on here, is going to be the lead facilitator for one of those courses, and Shane O'Connor, who I think someone made reference to before as a great facilitator, is going to be leading a second one of those. So you can take a look at those on the website. And then we are also, and again, all of this is in partnership with the charter, that we're also offering a special educator course. So take a look at that if you know of K through 12 educators that may be interested in that, university educators. We're putting up a lot of information about creating some cohorts directly for that. And then lastly, go to the charter site to see all sorts of upcoming and ongoing opportunities, as well as the next good read is on self-compassion. Kristen Neff and Christopher Germer, and I get to interview them. So I'll be your host. So hopefully you guys can join us for that in May, early May. So I think that brings us to the end. Again, please reach out to us if you have any questions, or you can get to us at info@compassionateintegrity.org. And I know, Marilyn, there's contact information for you and that you can put into the chat or share with us for people who are looking for other opportunities. So we're not alone. Thank you for the thumbs up, Jay. I like the new Zoom features. And have a wonderful week, everybody. And for those who are celebrating, have a wonderful Passover and a wonderful Easter. And I look forward to seeing everyone next week.
Michael.
Yes, Victoria.
Can I ask,
Vicky. Victoria.
No problem. Can I ask the CIT for educators? How much of the C learning is that, or is that going to be a separate thing?
So for those who want to leave, please leave because we're at time. But for those who want to stay, I'll mention it. And by the way, Shane O'Connor, who is Shane@compassionateintegrity.org, is the leader of our Global Education Network, and working hand in hand with Marilyn on this program. It's going to start with a 5-week quicker CIT course. So we're going to meet twice a week. And then it's going to move into a C Learning course that you'll do directly through C Learning, through Emory's site. So we're not going to lead that, but we're going to recommend people take what they've learned in CIT, take C Learning. Then there's going to be a follow-on set of webinars that are going to be basically just support group for those people who have taken those courses on how they're going to integrate that into their classroom, followed by a special offer for facilitator training at the end for CIT.
Okay, and is there anything right now that has the C learning?
No, you can go directly to the Emory site for C Learning and their course is just a self-paced course. So you can do that at any time. So if you've already taken CIT like you have, you can go directly to that. But again, if you're an educator, I would definitely reach out to Shane and Marilyn. Even if you're not interested in that particular course, we have grant opportunities available, and we have support group, opportunities where people are collaborating. And I know Shane is running a course now with educators from 13 different countries. So it's really amazing to see. And Andrea, who I've mentioned many times, has been doing a lot of work in Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, doing this with other schools there. So anyway, it's a great opportunity for you to connect with people who are doing this around the world in schools.
Okay, and then can you give me Shane's email one more time?
Sure, Shane he can speak for himself, but Shane@compassionateintegrity.org.
Thank you.
You say it so much more clearly though, Michael.
Yeah, it's hard to understand you. Okay, everybody, have a really wonderful week, and be resilient and stay strong. And I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy Passover.
Thank you.